Now, I've talked a lot about the Batman on this channel over the past few weeks, and that train isn't stopping anytime soon because I may have found a brilliant Batman comic that should be used for the sequel for the Batman. What's up, Nerdgenic Nation? Superhero nerd Aaron Waller here once again talking about Batman. I mean, Marvel gets the spotlight 90% of the year, so I have to shine some light on DC when I can. But today I'm talking about another Batman comic that is absolutely brilliant, dark, gritty, and very well could be an amazing sequel idea for the Batman, and that's Batman the Imposter. And that's not to be confused with the unused Joker Imposter Batman that was made up during BVS, Suicide Squad, and the Justice League era. Batman the Imposter is a limited DC title under the DC Black label that comes from the minds of Mattson Tomlin, Andre Sorrentino, and Jordi Belair. It's a 3-issue story, much like my recommendation for Robin and Batman, that sees an imposter in a Batman costume killing criminals around Gotham City, and it's up to Batman to clear his name before his reputation of a hero is tarnished forever. This series is excellent in that it takes a very similar approach to the Batman, in that it's a very young and somewhat inexperienced Bruce Wayne who makes a lot of mistakes while also creating a lot of new problems, such as no longer having Gordon as an ally in the GCPD, Alfred not even being around, and the introduction of a new police officer, Blair Wong, and Bruce's psychiatrist, Dr. Leslie Tompkins. The story immediately presents problems for Bruce as he's injured and goes to his recently mentioned childhood psychiatrist, and his identity is revealed to her. She ends up patching him up and then instructs him that he must come to see her every morning or she'll turn him in. Meanwhile, Batman goes out every night looking for this imposter that is tarnishing his already declining reputation, and the best way that I can describe this comic is it's like the Batman meets the Long Halloween. And what I mean by that is that Batman has already been established, but making a very fair amount of mistakes. But at the heart of the story is also a mystery as to Gotham being on edge that its once former hero is out killing criminals rather than protecting people from them, and the also ticking clock that he needs to find them as soon as possible. And that's not even mentioning that the art style really sells the grittiness of the story and Gotham itself. It too uses a lot of similar watercolors that I mentioned in my previous comic review for Robin and Batman, but it also adds some hard lines which are very much like The Long Halloween. As I read this comic, I genuinely felt as though I was looking at a viable sequel to the Batman. The tone matches perfectly, and despite a few story beats likely having to be omitted or slightly altered to fit the narrative of the film, this story would be a very ideal candidate to adapt or take inspiration from that I think would make a lot of Batman fans very happy. Plus, although it does include several Batman villains, it gives a very refreshing story of Batman facing a very grounded obstacle that's close to home while introducing new characters and narratives we've never really seen before, either on page or on the screen. But that's also not to say that some of my ideas from a previous video about the sequel shouldn't also be seriously considered. Without spoiling anything, needless to say, Batman the Imposter is an amazing run that I highly recommend reading, whether you like the Batman, are a fan of The Long Halloween, or just a Batman fan in general. It's an absolutely brilliant read, and I know that they already released a collected edition of all 3 issues, so if you want to go out and read them all in one go like I did, you totally can, and you absolutely should, because it's extremely hard to put down. But now I want to hear from you in the Nerdgenic community. Have you read Batman the Imposter? Would you like to see it adapted into the Batman sequels? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you miss out on any future content, and also be sure to give us a follow across all social media platforms at Nerdgenic so you miss out on any special news, announcements, or articles at nerdgenic.com. And if you're a kind citizen of the Nerdgenic Nation and want to continue to make sure this channel gets even better, make sure to check out our recently launched Patreon so you can come and support us and make sure we continue to grow even more. But in the meantime, if you want even more video content from us, check out these videos on screen, like my recent videos talking about the Robin and Batman comic that I mentioned earlier, or check out Ash's latest video right over here. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you in the next video.